San Antonio, a city on the move, rich in beautiful natural resources, rich in history, a city with the perfect combination of the new and the old. Here in San Antonio, people recognize the importance of preserving a heritage that has helped mold a charm and personality unique to the world. It's probably one of the few places where people would rally to save a building that had been vacant for years. Now, you may wonder why in the world would anyone want to save, let alone move, a 1,650-ton brick building, built back in 1906.
It's one of the few examples of a building that's in the exact condition almost as when it was built. It's deteriorated, but it's never been renovated substantially on the upper floors, which provides us a real unique opportunity to go in and preserve that character and be able to renovate it into a building that's useful today, and that people can go through and have a fairly clear idea of what it was like to stay in a hotel in 1906.
It was back in 1980 when the Fairmount looked like it was doomed for the bulldozers. That is, until one of the best organized conservation societies in the nation stepped in. With an agreement from shopping mall developers who owned the hotel, the San Antonio Conservation Society bargained for enough time to move the historic building. Enter Virginia Van Steenberg, Tom Wright, B.K. Johnson, and a city government willing to help. Next came the push for someone to move the Fairmount, and somewhere to move it to. The first question was answered when the firm of Emmert International was called in. The second, when the city leased vacant property at the intersection of Nueva and Alamo Street to the Fairmount Hotel Company. Almost immediately, work started on the largest move ever attempted on wheels.
Structural elements that carry this end wall.
Rusty Gorman is part of a highly talented crew from Emmert International. For almost 2 months prior to the move, Rusty has been getting the 3 million pound structure ready. He explains that it takes precise calculations and just the right equipment to make it happen. And with both elements on his side, Rusty says chances of an accident are virtually eliminated.
It deserves a considerable amount of attention on our part. But that's not to overshadow the logistics of simply moving a building of this size. That's a challenging task, but that's well defined and something that we've been through before many times. And so,
in February 1985, tests were conducted at the new site to ensure the foundation was firm. Shortly after, heavy equipment moved in to begin the digging. But on February 16th, preparation at the new site came to a halt. Another part of San Antonio's history had been uncovered. Within 24 hours, a University of Texas San Antonio archaeological team and scores of volunteers were sifting through the dirt looking for artifacts. Realizing the importance, developers delayed the project 2 weeks. It's a delay that pays off, as items dating back to 1836 and used in the Battle of the Alamo are found. In fact, the bayonets, cannon, and musket balls indicate this was the battle site of Santa Anna's army as they prepared for their attack on the Alamo. For their patience and assistance in the dig, developers Van Steenberg and Wright did not go unnoticed.
When evidence was found from the monitoring that more archaeological investigations would be needed, Mr. Wright and Mrs. Van Steenberg cooperated fully by providing the additional budget and time in a project constrained already by rigid deadlines for the archaeologists to complete the on-site investigation and the data recovery process.
Meanwhile, work was still progressing at the Fairmount. By mid-March, the building was separated from the foundation and steel supports were in place underneath. Dollies and jacks used to lift the Fairmount were ready to do just that. It's a process called shoring. It requires a sophisticated hydraulic system and no less than 800,000 pounds of timbers. As moving day grows nearer, the Fairmount is reinforced with steel beams and cables to ensure that it will hold together during the move. And the route which it will travel is inspected. Additional support is added to the Market Street Bridge. Everything checks out okay, and the final go-ahead is given to move the Fairmount from Commerce Street onto Bowie, then turn down Market, cross the bridge, and finally make the turn onto Alamo Street and proceed to its new home. Talking about it is one thing. Now it's time to really move it. Saturday, March 30th. Well before dawn, the streets around the hotel come alive. Representatives from dozens of city agencies gather to plan strategy with the owners, architects, and the moving company.
And CPS, they've got a pole to move and waterboard for plating. Do you all have the plating up ready to go?
Outside, preparations have already begun as street lights that would ultimately be in the path of the Fairmount are taken down. Metal plates weighing over a ton each are placed on the pavement to protect an underground water line. With everything in order, Emmert International's Rusty Gorman makes final preparations for getting the move underway.
So they've got the sand coming, you've got the plate coming, or plate here. All right, so we're in good shape. Let's just take a few minutes and get the sand.
And pray like hell.
Yeah, no, we'll be all right.
By mid-afternoon, hundreds of spectators encircle the old hotel, watching it like proud parents watch a baby take its first few steps. Police move the barricades back, and even news photographers are cleared from the area. Finally, at 3:02 Saturday afternoon, the 79-year-old hotel rolls no more than a foot or so. A small dent in the project, but enough to delight onlookers. And as the Fairmount made its way onto Commerce Street, there was praise for the people involved in saving a part of San Antonio's past.
Well, there's no question, but the San Antonio is getting a lot of credit for its conservation activities across the country as a result of this project. It's drawing a lot of attention to what we've known for a long time, and that is that there's a very strong conservation ethic here.
By the end of Saturday, the intersection at Bowie and Commerce was cleared, and crews had begun to take timbers to the new location. The end of the first long, grueling day, a day in which success was measured in inches. Sunday, March 31st. How do you turn a 3 million pound, 3-story brick building? Obviously, very slowly, very gently, and with precise maneuvering of the dollies which support the building.
We'll make the first pull from where they are, because it'll only take about 10 feet and it'll be around. See, then you start pointing the first ones around. You take that end truck off and bring it around to this side and hook Brutus onto it. And Brutus will pull from over here to help this corner get around.
But turn it they did, and onto Market Street the Fairmount came. With sunny skies and temperatures in the 90s, people by the thousands lined Market Street to watch it roll. What do you think of all the excitement today?
Well, it was worth coming from Milwaukee to see it.
You came all the way
Not just for that, though, of course, but we happen to be here, and this is very interesting.
I think it's nice. I live here. I think it's nice.
Good for San Antonio.
Absolutely, and the Conservation Society.
What do you think about all this excitement?
It's fun.
It's fun. Hoping to get across the Market Street Bridge before sundown, Terry Emmert's crew works feverishly. But as the gravel trucks used as ballast and the winches which do the pulling inch it along, there are still final preparations being made under the bridge. Then word that in order to be extra safe, the Fairmount will not cross until Monday, allowing a few more hours of work on the bridge. Rather than a setback, the crew views it as a welcome break in an incredibly hectic schedule.
We've been working now for 3 weeks, night after night, until 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, 4:30. So to get a couple hours off is just great.
Looking back on the day, Pete Friesen says they've accomplished a great deal, and a good night's sleep will make them ready for tomorrow, which may prove to be the most intense day of the move. But for now, it's time to relax as the crew and others involved celebrate the project at a fiesta-style block party, San Antonio style. Monday, April 1st. Early morning on the third day of the move of the Fairmount Hotel, the hotel just in the background on Market Street, about to be pulled over the Market Street Bridge. Terry Emmert of Emmert International has been checking under the bridge this morning, making certain that the last of the shoring is in place and that the bridge will withstand the weight of the building. We expect that move should be getting underway in a short time. And once the hotel is over the bridge, then it's an easy pull down to the South Alamo Street corner, and then, of course, the slow negotiation of that corner on the final turn. The Market Street Bridge over the famed San Antonio Riverwalk was never intended to carry weight of this type. But today, it will make engineering history. The hotel is pulled to the edge of the bridge, and the trucks are moved forward so that the building will spend as little time as possible actually on the bridge. Underneath the bridge, the city safety inspector has wedged a glass bottle. If it breaks, it means the bridge is giving way. But within minutes, the excitement of Emmert's crew indicates there is no problem.
Stays loose all the time. Now, it's not giving anything. One bit of a move.
Across it goes, hurdling one of the biggest obstacles, a feat that ends in celebration. You're over the bridge. I've got to have your reaction.
We're over the bridge. Oh, relieved. Happy.
Everything
delighted. Now we're on our way.
Pigeons were roosting while the building was rolling over the bridge. So
didn't even move. That was our last test. The pigeons jumped off. We were all diving in the water.
Over the bridge safely, and I was standing under the bridge when they went over it, and I loved it. It was a beautiful sight, a beautiful view.
But the work for Monday has just begun. There is another turn to make, and it is the most difficult turn of the journey.
But I keep sweeping the curb. See, I'm supposed to be coming, my schedule calls for me to come right in through here, through the arc.
Thousands of people still line the route, and it seems some have become more than just casual observers.
Forward, and then that crane starts winching it, and all those cables just transfer the weight from each one of those trucks, and it pulls the whole thing just straight forward. Wow. And they go, I guess, maybe about 10 feet at a time. And then they'll move the trucks forward, and then the crane will come forward.
How far has it been moved in this morning?
This morning it started right there at the Hilton, and it's made at this point since this morning. It started about 8.
Everyone rallies behind the Fairmount, wishing it good luck. And everyone agrees they've never seen anything quite like this.
Well, I believe this would be one of the wonders of the world. And I really believe it.
Oh, I think it's great. It really is wonderful to see. I really am enjoying looking at this.
It's really something. I'll tell you, something like we've never seen before. Something we'll probably never see again in this part of the country. It's really something, it really is.
Late in the day, the turn onto South Alamo Street is complete, and the Fairmount is now into the home stretch, somewhat behind schedule. Like the two before it, today has been long yet highly successful. Tuesday, April 2nd. With much of the hardest work behind them, today is spent moving the Fairmount the rest of the way down South Alamo Street and parking it in front of the new site. Materials for the new foundation are still being brought in. It is apparent the project will remain slightly behind the original schedule. Wednesday, April 3rd. Come Wednesday, Emmert International's crew begins adjusting the dollies for the turning and backing of the Fairmount onto its new foundation. It's another tedious and extremely difficult step toward the hotel's new address, 401 South Alamo Street. Thursday, April 4th. By late Thursday, the Fairmount had moved its last inch. There were no huge crowds, no party. Just a handful of satisfied and tired people who, since early 1985, had been working relentlessly to see that project successfully completed. But it's just the end of the story for some of the people. For others, it's just beginning, as renovation of the historic building gets underway. And by 1986, the Fairmount will take on a new look. New, yes, but still adhering to the concept of Van Steenberg, Wright, and Johnson that the building must retain the charm of the turn-of-the-century original Fairmount Hotel. It's that tradition of preserving the best of the old that has given San Antonio its world-renowned uniqueness.